Kris Aquino changes her mind and travels to Hong Kong Disneyland with her sons. Despite the terrifying firebomb incident that occurred at the Hong Kong MTR train, Kris Aquino continued with her birthday Valentine's Day celebration plans at the Disneyland in Hong Kong. On February 11, the Queen of all media shared a post featuring a beautiful floral arrangement on Instagram. She captioned the post with, "Seriously awesome birthday floral arrangement from my favorite Ed Boss 1020. Thanks Kris for the unconditional love. P.S. We cancelled 6-hour trip, got scared of the MTR video we saw. We were supposed to go to HK Disneyland." Her fear of the MTR incident didn't last for too long, however. Only a day ago, Kris shared an Instagram photo featuring her two boys, Joshua and Bimby, having fun at Disneyland. They celebrated Kris' 46th birthday along with Valentine's Day for good measure. Kris' statements, due to their inconsistency, show that she can change her mind at a moment's notice. Many netizens have offered their sincere well wishes to the birthday girl. Here are some of the comments written by her supportive fans. Mary Kuailo, "Happy birthday Ms. Kris and happy Valentine's to you, and your son's missing you." Glory Ann wrote, "Happy birthday at Kris Aquino. Wishing you genuine joy and good health. Thank you for sharing your life to us. You are such an inspiration." What do you think about Kris' quick turnaround? Let us know in the comment section. Invite you to watch the video. The PNP warns the public, people who shared the destruction of Daisy video will go to jail. Read here. When a 23-year-old child trafficker from Cebu with the moniker Savage Girl got arrested, people were ready to kill her for the heinous crimes she has committed. She was in cahoots with Australian paedophile Peter Gerard Scully, who was her live-in partner. The two of them were arrested on counts of human trafficking and cyberpornography. Cebu Daily News reported that a piece of footage was also retrieved from the suspects, which was named Destruction of Daisy. The footage featured a naked toddler hanging upside down with her hands tied together and her legs drawn apart. The toddler was identified as Daisy and was shown crying incessantly while being tortured and sexually assaulted by Lizelle Margalo, the aforementioned Savage Girl. Daisy was repeatedly whipped with a belt while Margalo dripped hot wax on her genitals using a melted candle. Her mouth was also covered in duct tape in order to prevent her from crying out too loudly. It was described by the National Bureau of Investigation as the worst video they have ever seen in their campaign against child pornography. According to them, the video also featured at least 9 more children who were subjected to the same horrendous method of torture. Lawyer Janet Francisco, head of the NBI's Anti-Human Trafficking Division, said, "It was too much. There are really just some people who are not afraid of God. Children were treated like dolls. They were tortured and exposed to too much pain. Anyone who do that is not normal. I could not help but cry when I saw the video." She continued. The video, unfortunately, made its way online and was shared by several netizens before it was taken down. Some even shared it to boost the track of their pages, but PNP warned the public that they would have to take action against those people. The PNP warned the public that they would have to arrest anyone who dares to upload and share the video online. According to them, it violates the Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009. Anyone who would be caught will face reclusion perpetua and a fine of 750,000 to 1 million pesos. What do you think about this issue? Comment below and share this story to stop the spread of child porn. Invite you to watch the video. Hilo, Peter Tasker, Trump-Abe Summit reboots the U.S.-Japan relationship. U.S. President Donald Trump provokes strong reactions. Media commentary has been mostly hostile, and anti-Trump demonstrations have become commonplace in the U.S. and elsewhere. The financial markets, on the other hand, have given him an enthusiastic welcome. In Trump's first month in office, the Dow Jones Index breached the 20,000 level for the first time, and the MSCI World Index continues to set new highs. Meanwhile, the gold-copper ratio, an indicator of financial stress and economic debility, has fallen sharply from the elevated levels of mid-2016. If the world is on the brink of a return to the 1930s, As some excitable commentators have claimed, investors do not appear to have noticed. Trump's America First project will stand or fall on the performance of the domestic economy, with complex issues such as tax reform and infrastructure investment being crucial to success. Cultivating warm relations with foreign countries will not come high on the president's to-do list, as the leaders of trading partners including Germany, Mexico and Australia have already learned. There are two exceptions, the UK and Japan. British Prime Minister Theresa May was the first foreign leader to make an official visit to the new occupant of the White House. As Britain extricates itself from the EU, closer ties with the US, probably marked with a bilateral trade deal, are necessary and mutually beneficial. While May's visit was brisk and businesslike, Trump described his recent encounter with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe as having very good chemistry. Indeed, Abe was treated to hugs, multiple dinner dates and a sleepover at Trump's luxury resort in Florida. The round of golf the two men played there was highly symbolic, echoing the close relationship enjoyed by two of their predecessors in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan and Yasuhiro Nakasone. Ron and Yasu hit the links together at a time of escalating trade friction marked by sensational incidents, such as the murder of a Chinese-American man who was mistaken for a Japanese by two unemployed auto workers. The campaign rhetoric of Walter Mondale, Reagan's opponent in the 1984 election, also sounds eerily familiar. "We have to start running up the American flag," he said. "And to turn around, fight and make America #1 again in international commerce so that American jobs are filled in this country." In the 1980s, Japan responded to U.S. protectionist pressure by agreeing to voluntary quotas on auto exports, building factories in the U.S. and accepting a massive revaluation of the yen as proposed in the Plaza and Louver Accords. With the Cold War still raging, the strategic logic of the U.S.-Japan relationship overwhelmed transient economic and financial issues. Ironically, Mondale went on to become a respected ambassador to Tokyo in the 1990s. Cornerstone of peace today: there is no Soviet Union to glue the alliance together, and Trump, unlike Reagan, is no free trader. Even so, the two countries have enough congruence of interest for the relationship to thrive under the Trump administration. Trump himself has recognized that, not least by backtracking on his campaign criticism of the U.S.-Japan Security Treaty, which he now describes as the cornerstone of peace and stability in the Pacific region. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis had already traveled to Tokyo to state that the U.S. would stand shoulder to shoulder with Japan and pledge to defend the Senkaku Islands, which are claimed by China. North Korea is now a common threat as it seeks intercontinental missile capability. Its latest missile test will have the effect of driving Japan and the U.S. together. On China, Trump has long positioned himself as a hawk, and almost by definition that means supporting and cooperating with Japan. As in the 1980s, the security relationship will mold the economic relationship. Yet China is not an existential threat to the U.S., nor an ideological foe in the sense that the Soviet Union was. Some influential geopolitical thinkers, such as Henry Kissinger, have long advocated accommodation with China on the grounds that the risks of conflict between an existing superpower and a rising challenger, the so-called Thucydides trap, are simply too great. It is not beyond the bounds of imagination that Trump himself might make some kind of bargain with Beijing, for example in relation to North Korea. The 21st century reality, well understood by both Trump and Abe, is that their security treaty now means more to Japan than to the U.S. That is why Abe rushed to New York the week after the election to visit Trump Tower. Japan's leader may need to offer more reciprocity on economy, security. Two-way street. This is not 30 years ago. It's got to be a two-way street. Those were Trump's remarks about the alliances with Japan and South Korea during the campaign. It is hard to believe that the man known for the art of the deal has forgotten that salient point. Over time, Abe will have to deliver more reciprocity on both the economic and security fronts. Japan could probably reformat some of its commitments for the now-defunct Trans-Pacific Partnership as the basis for a bilateral trade agreement with the U.S. Nudging the behavior of Japanese companies could be helpful too. It would be no surprise if Japanese automakers with Mexican operations started shifting production to plants in the U.S., or if the Franco-German Airbus found it even more difficult to make new sales in Japan, to the benefit of America's Boeing. Contributing to U.S. infrastructure programs has already been mentioned. If Trump wants a bullet train system, he is unlikely to choose the Chinese version, as the Indonesians did. The best sweetener of all, though, would be buoyant Japanese domestic demand. To help achieve this, Abe would need to ignore the fiscal hawks and juice up infrastructure and other spending at home. With the Bank of Japan now owning 40% of Japanese bonds and market participants complaining that there are not enough left to buy, the obvious solution is to issue more. A more active role in regional security is also likely to be part of the mix, including increased cooperation with other countries such as India and Australia. Abe's long-term political project includes revising Japan's outmoded pacifist constitution in order to gain strategic flexibility. Progress in that direction would help create the two-way street that Trump mentioned, as well as ensuring Japan against any future rupture in the alliance. All this presents a daunting challenge. Abe is not noted as an especially skilled golfer, but if he can work the mercurial Donald Trump to Japan's advantage, it would be the diplomatic equivalent of a hole-in-one. Thank you for viewing videos. My channel regularly posts new videos. If you remember registered channels to receive the latest announcements, please. Thanks.